As we speak, our night sky is undergoing a metamorphosis that will leave it unrecognizable in a matter of decades, if not years. Astronomers worldwide have raised the alarm. Experts like Neil deGrasse Tyson have just confirmed that Polaris is about to explode, and the story behind it is harrowing. Its central presence in the night sky defines its special position as the North Star. Until now, Polaris was the one constant stargazers, navigators, and astronomers could always count on. This may change soon enough, and with it, our night sky and astronomical measurements may never be the same again. Join us as we unveil the gravity of this threat and what it means to us all. Let's explore the story of Polaris as it nears its end. The significance of Polaris. Polaris has long been seen as the guiding North Star and has held a revered place as a beacon for astronomers and navigators for centuries. Its steadfast presence in the night sky has been a cornerstone of celestial navigation. However, this may all change in the blink of an eye. A recent research paper presented by the esteemed Royal Astronomical Society in September 2023 has cast a shadow of uncertainty over the fate of this celestial luminary. The star is on the verge of exploding and forever disappearing from the night sky. Before we dive into the implications of this revelation, let's take a look at the star in question. Understanding Polaris. Polaris, also known as the North Star or Pole Star, holds a special place in the sky due to its proximity to the celestial North Pole. It sits almost directly above the Earth's North Pole, making it appear nearly stationary in the northern sky. Located in the constellation Ursa Minor, also known as the Little Dipper or the Small Bear, Polaris is a moderately bright, yellow-white supergiant star. It is considerably larger and brighter than our Sun, with a radius estimated to be about 40 times that of the Sun. Though often perceived as a solitary star, Polaris is actually part of a complex triple star system. The primary stars, Polaris AA and Polaris UB, appear as a single star to the naked eye, with a third companion, Polaris B, orbiting the binary pair. The gravitational interactions among these stars shape their orbits and influence their luminosity. The distance factor. Polaris is situated approximately 323 light-years away. This means the light we currently see from Polaris is as it was 323 years ago. If Polaris were to explode today, we wouldn't know about it until 323 years from now. By the time we witnessed the event from Earth, it would have already occurred over 3 centuries in the past. Of course, the predictions made by scientists are based on empirical evidence observed today, meaning Polaris could have already exploded, and we simply haven't seen the light from that event yet. The cultural and navigational importance of Polaris. Throughout history, the North Star has played a crucial role in navigation, guiding ancient mariners and travelers across seas and lands. Its nearly fixed position in the sky made it an invaluable reference point for determining direction, particularly in the northern hemisphere. Beyond navigation, Polaris holds deep symbolic meaning across various cultures. It has been regarded as a symbol of guidance, stability, and constancy, a celestial anchor amidst the cosmic dance of the night sky. Astronomers have also relied on Polaris for centuries. As a Cepheid variable star, it exhibits periodic variations in brightness, which have helped in determining cosmic distances and calibrating astronomical instruments. However, recent irregularities in its pulsation cycle have puzzled scientists, raising concerns about its fate. Unexplained irregularities. Instead of following a predictable pulsation pattern, Polaris has begun exhibiting erratic and unpredictable cycles of dimming and brightening. This unsettling irregularity has prompted astronomers to closely examine this celestial anomaly. Some astronomers speculate that these fluctuations are due to gravitational interactions within the Polaris star system. However, others believe these anomalies are signs that Polaris is nearing the end of its life. Polaris and Betelgeuse, a striking comparison. The behavior of Polaris bears striking resemblances to Betelgeuse, the massive red supergiant in the Orion constellation. Betelgeuse has also exhibited unusual dimming patterns, leading many experts to speculate about its imminent explosion. Similar to Betelgeuse, Polaris is showing irregular luminosity fluctuations, a common characteristic of dying stars in their final stages. However, while NASA has expressed heightened concern over Betelgeuse, no official statements have been made regarding Polaris yet. What happens if Polaris explodes? If Polaris were to go supernova, it would likely be a spectacular event. The star would suddenly become incredibly bright, potentially outshining the Moon and becoming one of the most prominent objects in the night sky. This could last for weeks or even months before the star gradually fades. Though the explosion would be visually stunning, Earth would be completely safe due to the star's distance. The only significant effect would be the loss of Polaris as a navigational reference point, prompting scientists to find an alternative North Star. Will Polaris become a supernova? Despite the alarming observations, Polaris may not actually undergo a supernova. Unlike Betelgeuse, Polaris lacks the mass required for a typical Type II supernova. Instead, its eventual fate is likely to be much less dramatic. Instead of a massive explosion, Polaris will likely evolve into a white dwarf, a dense, compact stellar remnant that will gradually cool over billions of years. This transformation marks the final stage in the life cycle of a star that is not massive enough to undergo a supernova. The end of an era. If Polaris disappears, it would mark the end of an astronomical era. Navigators, astronomers, and stargazers would need to redefine celestial navigation and find new reference points for measuring cosmic distances. For centuries, Polaris has been a guiding beacon in the night sky. But like all celestial objects, its fate is ultimately dictated by the laws of the universe. Whether it fades into a white dwarf or surprises us with a brilliant explosion, its disappearance will be a profound and historic moment in astronomy. As we await further developments, the scientific community remains vigilant, closely monitoring Polaris to unravel the mysteries of its final chapter. If and when the time comes, the world will witness a celestial event unlike any other, a farewell to the North Star that has illuminated our nights for generations. The aftermath of Polaris' disappearance. As the scientific community braces for Polaris' final act, astronomers worldwide have begun preparing for the inevitable question: what comes next? If Polaris were to vanish from the night sky, the impact would be immediate, not in a physical sense, but in how we perceive and measure the cosmos. Celestial navigation, which has relied on Polaris for centuries, would need a new anchor point. Without its guiding light, travelers and astronomers would have to adapt to a sky that no longer contains its most famous constant. A world without Polaris. The night sky has always been a source of guidance, wonder, and inspiration. For centuries, sailors have trusted Polaris to lead them across uncharted waters, knowing that no matter how turbulent the seas, the North Star would always be there. Now, the disappearance of Polaris would bring uncertainty to celestial navigation, forcing a shift in how we measure and map the stars. Astronomers would need to identify a new reference point near the celestial North Pole. One likely candidate is Gamma Cephei, a star in the constellation Cepheus. However, this transition would take time, and it would never be quite the same as the iconic Polaris. The cultural loss would be just as profound. Polaris is woven into myths, legends, and the histories of civilizations. From Viking explorers to ancient Egyptian architects, generations have looked to this steadfast light for direction and meaning. Its absence would mark the end of an era. A celestial spectacle. If Polaris were to go supernova, the explosion would be breathtaking. The night sky would be illuminated by a brilliant light, rivaling the moon in brightness. For weeks, maybe months, the remnants of the North Star would cast an eerie glow over the Earth, captivating astronomers and stargazers alike. This cosmic event would not only be a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle, but also an opportunity to study the death of a massive star up close. Scientists would use every tool at their disposal, telescopes on Earth and in space, to analyze the remnants and unravel the secrets hidden within its final burst of energy. The dawn of a new era. Though Polaris' end would be a monumental loss, it would also mark the beginning of new discoveries. Astronomers would turn their gaze toward distant stars, searching for new constants in an ever-changing universe. The disappearance of Polaris would serve as a reminder of the universe's impermanence. Even the most steadfast stars eventually fade. But in their wake, they leave knowledge, inspiration, and the promise of new celestial wonders yet to be discovered. As we look to the skies, we are witnessing the end of a star that has guided humanity for millennia. But as with all endings in the cosmos, it is also a new beginning, one that will shape our understanding of the universe for generations to come. The search for a new guiding star. With Polaris fading from the celestial stage, astronomers, navigators, and stargazers alike found themselves at a crossroads. For centuries, this steadfast beacon had provided a sense of direction, both literally and metaphorically. Now, the world had to adapt to a sky without its most constant light. The astronomical race begins. The disappearance of Polaris triggered an intense scientific race to find its successor. While Gamma Cephei, a star in the constellation Cepheus, was the most likely candidate to become the new North Star in a few thousand years due to Earth's axial precession, astronomers were now forced to accelerate the process of identifying a stable alternative. International observatories collaborated, using state-of-the-art telescopes to pinpoint the next celestial anchor. Would it be Eris, Kochab, or perhaps a completely new contender that had yet to be considered? The answer remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: the world could not remain without a reference point in the sky. The final glimpse of Polaris. As Polaris approached its final moments, astronomers around the world captured every last detail. Telescopes were pointed skyward, recording data at an unprecedented rate. The supernova countdown had begun, and scientists were eager to observe the precise moment when the explosion would send its final light across the cosmos. Then, the moment came. For a brief time, the night sky was set ablaze with a brilliance unseen in centuries. The explosion was not just a scientific marvel, it was a cosmic spectacle, visible to the naked eye. Across the globe, people stood in awe, witnessing the farewell of a legend. The light of the supernova outshone even the moon for days, perhaps weeks. The aftermath: a changing sky. Once the explosion faded, a hole was left in the sky, not just physically, but symbolically. Ancient star charts, relied upon for generations, were now outdated. Navigation tools and astronomical calculations had to be recalibrated. Humanity was forced to relearn the sky from scratch. Despite the loss, a new era of exploration had begun. Astronomers turned their attention toward the remnants of Polaris, eager to uncover the mysteries left behind. The explosion had sent shockwaves across space, altering the interstellar environment and leaving behind a dense white dwarf or a nebula of cosmic dust, whichever fate had befallen the fallen star. A universe in motion. Though Polaris was gone, the universe marched on. New stars would rise, and new guiding lights would emerge. Humanity, resilient as ever, would adapt, using the lessons learned from the celestial loss to push further into the unknown.